My name is Mieu Phan. I know my name is quite unusual, so I tell them to say me and you and put that together quickly. I have a special guest here, Joie Gharrity, and I just love what she does. We are going to be talking about expand your love capacity, expand your business. Uh, Joy, prove me if I'm wrong. You came from the Hollywood arena, and she realized that the most successful stars are the ones who are able to receive a lot of love. And I'm like, that makes so much sense. And it's such a novel idea. So Joy, please tell us a little bit about you and explain to us a little bit about your concept.
Sure. So my name is Joie Gharrity. I'm the founder of Joey G113. And I worked for 15 plus years in the Hollywood entertainment business where I observed superstars and leaders in their field. 3 years ago, I was at my friend's life celebration. I actually had a couple of friends pass back to back and was feeling very blue and very uninspired. And I asked that age-old question in my head of like, what's life really all about? And within just a matter of seconds, it was like a pure white of love came over me, and a series of memories were downloaded to me, ones that I haven't thought about in years. A memory like what it was like being on the red carpet and observing superstars and them just taking in all this adoration. And then another memory of being at the Four Seasons and coming off the elevator, walking towards the lobby, and a star was like playing on the piano. I had no idea they even played the piano, but playing on the piano. And all these people started surrounding them, and they were just, very gracious and very at ease in their body. And so I had a series of memories, and what connected for me at the very end was the message that's in my second book. It's called Being Your Own Superstar, How to Grow Your Love Capacity. People can find it on Amazon. And what the real secret sauce is yes, fear and criticism are like part of the reason we don't go for it, or what I say, jump off the cliff, right? But the really big reason is because we're not taught how to take in massive amounts of love. Money, opportunities, business opportunities, professional opportunities, cars, mansions, travel, whatever it is, right? It's just love. It's just in a different form, right? And so once I connected those dots, I had a major aha moment, and I looked at my own love capacity at the time, and my capacity was really low. And so I decided to start beta testing this on myself. And so for the last 3 years, I've been doing a daily habit system that was downloaded to me. And my entire personal and professional life have changed in the best of ways.
Awesome. And you know what? That really got to me. You're saying that this person just played the piano. That's something I wouldn't do. I would be so worried about being judged. So I can see like if being able to accept love requires me to be out there more often.
Yes, and as you grow your love capacity, your business is going to grow and thrive, because those opportunities that are sitting there for us a lot of times, for myself, is I was just letting them pass me by because I wasn't able to accept that much quote unquote love that came along with that deal, let's say, or with that person, that particular, but more importantly, around the adoration, right? Because you get a lot of adoration out there. And so if people could start taking a step back now and just thinking about business or their personal, their professional life, and really identifying it around where their capacity is around love, they would see that things would be so much easier, because as you grow your capacity, you become more at ease. And so stars like that particular star, he was at ease where he could sit down at any piano. By the way, this piano was in the hallway at the Four Seasons. It was more of a prop. It wasn't even in the lounge. It was that he has this ease about him that what I thought was, I'm like, oh my God, did he ask to play permission on that piano? I mean, I think that's a prop. And I don't think the Four Seasons asked him to play the piano. But what that memory was teaching me and reminding me why I observed it is that when we're at ease, we can share our gifts and talents at any moment. But when we're second
Ah,
guessing ourselves all the time, that's because of our capacity.
okay. And so how do you must have an exercise of how you can help people receive more love.
Right. So my daily habit system that I've been working on for the last 3 years, it's in my book. And
Mhm.
so it's actually, my book actually takes you step by step by step. And here's the best thing, sister. It only takes 30 minutes every morning. That's it. And it's not like traditional daily habit systems. It's
Mm,
not that I don't believe in affirmations and journaling and all that kind of stuff, because I've done all that. But what my book is talking about is you can affirmate until you're literally in your grave. But if your capacity isn't matching or bigger than the actual affirmation, then what starts happening is your love capacity starts getting filled with disappointment and anger and
mm,
frustration because you're not getting what you want, because you haven't connected the dots yet. That is just an acceptance piece, which is just love, right?
mm,
And so, for instance, my 30 minutes in level 1 of the habit system, it's a series of prayers that I had a master prayer maker customize specifically for this system. So you just read them,
oh, wow.
right? Just read through the prayers, right? And then I have a visualization, but I take the visualization next level, because a lot of us are taught how to solo visualize, like be by yourself. And instead, I've asked people to put themselves in a very crowded stadium with other people cheering for them. And so this system, right, is something, it's very easy. Anyone can do it,
Okay.
right? And you don't have to have any special talents or gifts to do it. But what it does is that it gets you closer to the divine first thing in the morning, so that you're already growing your capacity and you're moving the other junk out of your capacity, like shame and guilt and disappointment that are taking up precious capacity.
Right, right. Yeah, we can only handle so much in a day. And it's almost like not accepting the love capacity. It's almost like you're carrying a heavy weight, like a weight on your ankle, and you're trying to move your business forward and you just can't. It's like, it's just so hard because you have to remove so much. And so having this love capacity, I can see it as being so airy that you're not, there's less fear of trying something new, that's fear of rejection and just fear in general.
Mhm. It gives you more courage.
Absolutely. Yes, for
Yes,
sure.
it gives you courage to jump, right? And I talked about this morning in a blog that I shared across my social media channels, and it's called Courage Times 1,000. I talk about how putting myself on the cover of my book, right? That took a lot of courage. And I tell you, sister, before 3 years ago, before I had the downloads, I would never have done that.
No?
There's no
Oh,
way I would have done that in a million years. It would have been too, I would have been too stressed out about it. But because I'm more at ease, right? And I want to be a walking billboard, I want to show other people you can do this too. That I put myself on the cover. It still takes courage, but like I said, it's like I'm different. I'm not as so tied up inside all the time. I have more of an
mhm,
ease about me, right?
mhm,
And so therefore these decisions, not that it wasn't scary when I jumped, right? But I was able to jump and do that.
right. Yeah, I think I can experience the scariness. Then going live is kind of scary.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I remember it was just like a baby step. First, I had a hard time friending people I didn't know on
Mhm.
Facebook. And then I had a hard time just going live. And then I had a hard time, I would hide on behind tech because I'm a techie by training. So I would hide behind tech and people didn't know what I was doing. And I'll like teach people how to do Canva. I teach them how to do MailChimp. I teach them what a organic funnel is. But I couldn't like bring myself to tell them what I did and my story because I feel like I'm just me. I'm just one person,
Mhm.
and it's it's like why would anybody want to talk to me, kind of thing, or
Mhm.
really hear from me? So having that love capacity, maybe that's why I was like, what?
But I think you're in good company. I would say most of the globe feels like that at times, right? I
Yeah.
mean, particularly women, yes, because there's listen, a lot of these stories from our past that's taking up capacity, right? It's taking up all this precious room around, the fear and the criticism, all that. But again, we are not taught how to take in massive amounts of love. We're not taught in community. We're not taught in school. And yes, our parents loved us, but were they like, I love you, 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 I love you. That's what I'm saying. That's where the stars, that's why I was meant to observe them, because what was downloaded to me is that all this adoration, they don't, not necessarily, some of them fall apart, but on the whole, the ones that are mega stars, right? They can sustain taking in all that adoration because they've been building the muscle for so long. Right. And so teaching yourself how to take in massive amounts of love, that's key to big success. There's no one who is mega successful, and I mean like empire level successful. There's no one at that level who can't take in massive amounts of love, whether it's in the form of money or adoration or fame or media opportunities, right? Because that's all this is, right? Being on a live show, when I first started them, I was a wreck, right? Because inside, I wasn't ready for all that visibility, but with time, it becomes like our muscle gets so strong with that. So the love capacity, we work on other love capacity muscles that need to get stronger, right? Just like you did.
Yeah. And so did you help people get into Hollywood by any chance? I think I read that somewhere.
I was working, particularly at the end, I was working at a major studio, and I was helping to broker deals with talent and to bring them into a new type of digital series and connecting brands to that talent. So that was a very exciting time. But here's the thing, sister, I was still in the shadows, right? Because I was making everyone else a star and not myself, right? I didn't have the capacity to hold any of that. So making everyone else a superstar, that came pretty easy, right? But when I made the decision, particularly with the second book, to put myself, I'm like, if I'm going to tell other people to be a superstar, I've got to be a superstar. So putting myself in the spotlight every single day, right? Really showing up and owning my greatness and sharing my gifts and talents, face recognition all the time, right? That's something that I've had to really work on my capacity, because it's a lot easier to be in the shadows.
It is. So I get the impression your aha moment, this is what I perceive, is that when you put yourself in the cover and it's like, you're claiming you're the superstar, you are showing up. Is that what your moment was?
Yeah, because I believe it's our birthright to stand in our spotlights. Everyone's born with incredible gifts and talents, right? And this was my declaration of fully coming out of the shadows. I mean, I already was growing my online influence, right? I was already an international speaker. I already had a book, but putting myself on the cover was me saying, I'm not asking for permission. I am saying out loud, it is my birthright to be my own superstar. And I'm allowed to share my gifts and talents openly with the world. And I want every brother and sister out there globally to do the same. This world would be impacted in so many different ways if people came out of the shadows like I was in for years and years and years, and were openly sharing their gifts and talents and taking ownership of that. Then we open doors for others to do the same.
Yeah. And it's great that you are sharing how you evolved into where you are right now, because sometimes we don't see the process. We just see the end result. We see all the success, and we don't see all the years of like, why doesn't it work?
Oh,
You told me to go live. I did live. Like, no, you showed up, but you can still hide.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, absolutely. Even when I became an international speaker, I kept that under wraps for a long time. I mean, I would say it sometimes, but I didn't own it. You know what I mean? So now, again, rather than being in service to, my lack of capacity or all that junk that was in there. I want to be of service. And so again, when we're openly sharing our talents and gifts, we're opening doors for others to do the same. You know, that's the ultimate gift, to tell people out there, hey, I see you.
Right, right.
See more of you. You're fantastic. You're amazing. You're great. Right? If I can do it, I know you can do it. If I can do it, I know you can do it.
Well, I'm working on it for sure. I hope everyone who's watching know that they can do it. And I think
Yeah, me too.
it's for thing is, for me, I didn't realize I was hiding. So how do you spot if somebody's hiding and not showing their love?
Well, you know, this is the authenticity part. I really had to sit down with my love capacity after that day of the download. And I was kind of shocked and surprised at how low my capacity was. I thought it was a lot bigger than what it was. But when I really started connecting the dots and looking at where I was and how much love I would let in, whether it was, you know, success or media or even relationships, right? I saw how closed off I was.
Right.
And that would make sense, right? I mean, especially someone who was in the shadows for so long, and right. And I had a lot of different things, like my brother passed away. I had a lot of things happen. So there was a lot of sadness and regret inside me. So once I was able to identify that, what I did, sister, is I started small. I picked a dream or desire, and you know, they're different. A dream and a desire is different, right? I just picked a small one. I looked at where my capacity was at the time, and I'm like, listen, let me just, once I picked it, I pushed them to the side. This is what I teach my clients. I'm like, in my groups, I'm like, pick it now, push it to the side. I don't want you to focus on that anymore. I want you to just focus on just growing your capacity to match it or exceed it, right? And that means stop with the list buildings. Stop with this is how it's going to happen. These goals. I'm a goal setting girl, right? However, when we start trying to control how every dream and desire is going to come into play, we are actually sabotaging it, and we're going in the back door. I'm like, grow your capacity to match or exceed it, and allow the dream and desire to shape and form for you on your behalf. And here's the kicker: allow it, receive it, but now you got to accept it. Accept it. How many times have a dream and desire come knocking on our door? We've allowed it, we've received it, but we didn't fully accept it. So it starts falling apart, right? That's because our capacity can't hold it, right? And so this is why I want people to grow it and then work on the acceptance piece by continuing to grow the love capacity. Because what was hard for you last year, next year is going to be easy. And it's going to blow your mind of how far and how quickly you can move. In just 3 years, I went from, I'm in my 50s, right? 2 years ago, I was engaged and married, right? To the love of my life, right? My business exploded during COVID, right? Probably one of the worst times in history, right? Right? My health is better. I'm more at ease. I don't pound on myself like I used to. Every time I ate something, I would struggle constantly with my self-image. It was insane what was happening inside of me, right? And it's not that I still don't do that a little bit, but it's not like before. And that's just in 3 years. I'm being interviewed a minimum of once a week, right? And sometimes several times a week, right? And so I share this with the audience out there because I want them to know that this isn't just a philosophy that, you know, it's just like, yeah, no, this is real tangibles have changed my life, and they're changing my clients and my groups' lives. I know they tell me there's testimonials out there, right?
You know, something rang a bell when you just said this, because I did a Facebook Live about 2 years ago, and I was saying along the line of, my opportunity, money do fall from the sky. In my opinion, they do. Except that we are so rigid on how things are. And you mentioned about planning and making a list and all that stuff. But the thing is, if you're willing to receive things, it'll fall into your lap. And if you miss that one, there's always another one to catch. And that's just, I never knew it was correlated to love. I just think there's opportunities everywhere. And then that is like, wow, I just feel like I just got blown because I didn't know that receiving money or having wealth is loving yourself.
Yes, and it's acceptance. It's
And
adoration.
acceptance.
It's adoration.
Ah.
And we're taught, particularly in our society, to humble ourselves. Don't take up too much space. And I have a quote out there I share all the time. I'm like, there's plenty of spotlight to go around. Just like there's plenty of love to go around, right? Which is wealth and adoration and media and all kind, your gifts and talents and all that. But however, I think a lot of it, including myself, I was so used to receiving, but it was the acceptance piece that was getting in my way, because I could allow things to a point, but my capacity was like, there wasn't a lot of room, so things would start. So that's what I call the glass ceiling. I tell people, I said, you can get through the glass ceiling. I said, it's the acceptance piece, but you got to move the junk out. Right. You got to move that shame out and that guilt and the disappointment out and replace it with love.
Right. Yeah.
And you do this, and it's law. Everything will fall in. The people I was observing, and then the major leaders I was observing, their love capacity is Grand Canyon level. And so I teach that. I said, let's get your capacity to Grand Canyon level, because it's going to blow your mind what's going to fall in. And it's going to fall in. But here's the thing, when the capacity matches or exceeds it, you can sustain it.
Right.
And that, sister, that's the real key.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, we have a little bit of chance to talk about what we're doing. So we have a summit coming up. It's May 13 to the 15 from 9 to 2 o'clock. And so we have speakers who help us with business, health and wellness, and relationship. And you're actually the closing, because I just love your title so much. It's just like, who could not receive love? I mean, that is a great way to close the summit. And so we have speakers who I will be talking about how to get clients from workshops / events. There are speakers who are going to be talking about how to showcase yourself through news media, how to be true to yourself when you're promoting your business. I know, like, I had so many business coaching, and the strategies they showed me worked for them, for their clients. It didn't work for me because it wasn't me. Like, I just cannot cold DM. I haven't cold DM for a uber long time. I just can't. It hurts my body, actually. It's in here in my chest. I don't know if you experienced that, right? I don't know when you experience the pain when you're like not comfortable in doing something, you force yourself to do something. And then for me, I really believe they too were talking about relationship. I truly believe that it's not worth having money if nothing else in your wealth and your relationship with your family and friends and yourself is not functioning. Because I mean, I've done really well with my other two businesses. It went skyrocket. I didn't take care of myself, and then I was bedridden for 2 years. And then we're going to be talking about relationship on day 3, and I just can't wait to hear your 1-hour presentation about love, expanding your love capacity. And can you give us little juicy details? How does that relate to other areas? I know as a coach, I know how we function in one area of life, it carries through the others. And so your program is just about love capacity. How does that change? Can you give me a good case study where you had a client who was a certain way, had all the strategies to promote her or his business, but then didn't go anywhere because of lack of capacity? What are you
Yeah, because so I have a client who she's very analytical, right?
Mm,
So she was in her head a lot and she tried everything and she just couldn't get past this particular point in her business, no matter what, no matter how many affirmations or how many technology, whatever she was dumping into the business. And we worked together. She's actually one of the first people that asked to learn the capacity. She heard about my book and she's like, "Would you coach me?" I'm like, "Because you asked, yes." And your capacity is clearly big enough, so I say yes to that, right? And so we worked together and she just got it. And she does the daily practices still. And her business like skyrocketed. And she gave me the most incredible testimony. She's like, "I've been trying things forever." She's like, "I'm not, and she's like, "I'm not so in my head, first of all. But second of all, she goes, it just made sense. Right. And the daily practices are only 30 minutes and she just does them. And she's like she closed like 3 clients in 2 weeks and you know and
wow.
and like filled one of her group programs, all this stuff that she'd been wanting for a long time, right? But once she took a harder look at where her capacity was, she just knew, put all that to the side, just grow the capacity, right?
Mm,
So that she could allow it, receive it, but more importantly, accept it. It's the
right.
acceptance piece and then sustain it, right? And so what I'm going to be talking about with you all on the summit is grow your love capacity, grow your business, right?
Okay.
Because it is in direct alignment. I have an entire book and programs and teachings on visibility and influence, the outer game. But now this is about the inner game, because I was watching people build the outer game and then things would start collapsing a little bit. And I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, because it's sustainability, right?
Right, right,
Which your inner game is the biggest game in town. There's no doubt.
right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for hopping on the call, and I just can't wait until it's almost in 2 weeks,
Yeah,
actually. So I'm excited
I know I'm
to hear
day
all
three.
this. Yeah. All right, you're on day 3.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love
You're
you. I
on
love you. I
from
love you. I
1 to
love
2 o'clock, right? 2 p.m. PST time.
you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I'm
sister.
gonna end the. How do you end the live?